At 98, the tragic real-life story of Dick Van Dyke. Do you know what really happened to him? Shocking truth was revealed. If you had to define the concept of comedy with the career of a single person, Dick Van Dyke would have a pretty good shot at being that person. Dick Van Dyke at 98 is as energetic as ever just days after making history. The Mary Poppins and Dick Van Dyke Show star spends his days with wife Arlene Silver. One of Hollywood's most chipper stars remains as effervescent and energetic as ever. The actor was seen in several glimpses shared on his Instagram stories with fans old and new at Bob Baker Day, celebrated by Bob Baker Marionette Theater in Los Angeles, a celebration of all things puppets and clowns at LA State Historic Park over the weekend. The actor walked around with a cane while sporting his white beard and longer hair, but was energetically captured bouncing across the field, enthusiastically interacting with children and families that came up to him. Artist Key Arentz shared a photo of Van Dyke and his wife posing with Bozo the Clown at the event, which ended with a field-wide pie fight, in true clown fashion. The appearance came just days after the 51st Daytime Emmy Awards nominations were announced and the Mary Poppins star made a bit of history. At 98, Van Dyke is now the oldest Daytime Emmy nominee in history, competing with Norman Lear, who was 100 when he scored his final Primetime Emmy nomination. He is nominated in the category of Outstanding Guest Performer in a Drama Series for his portrayal of Mystery Man/Timothy Robichaux on Days of Our Lives. He is up against Lyndon Ashby for The Young and the Restless, Ashley Jones for The Bold and the Beautiful, Ali Mills for General Hospital, and Guy Pearce for Neighbors. The awards will take place on June 7, and Van Dyke could potentially become the oldest Daytime Emmy winner in history. His life and career were immortalized in the recent CBS special Dick Van Dyke 98 Years of Magic, and in an interview with People. While basking in the joy of being celebrated for his legacy, he remarked that the one sad moment of it all was outliving his friends and peers in the industry. Fortunately, he conceded that he found himself a natural at making new friends. I'm happy to say people come to me. I don't have to go out looking. Now talk about Dick Van Dyke tragedy. Van Dyke's physical brand of humor influenced TV comedy to such an extent that he was called in to teach the makers of Disney Plus' WandaVision how old-school sitcoms should be done. Still, the man's happy career doesn't mean that he has danced from victory to victory in life. Comedy and tragedy are often two sides of the same coin, and despite his undeniable accolades on the field of making people happy, Van Dyke's own life has often been far from joyous. But what struggles has the famous entertainer faced, and how has he kept his smiling composure throughout the difficult times? Let's take a look at the tragic real-life story of Dick Van Dyke. Dark Dick Van Dyke tragedy that nearly killed him and curse of the Mary Poppins cast. The world of Mary Poppins was practically perfect in every way, but behind the scenes there have been a number of devastating tragedies. On screen we were transported into a magical all-singing, all-dancing world with a much-loved British nanny and a various quirky characters. But behind the innocent adventures of the 1964 classic, the cast were enduring personal struggles and health battles. None more so than legendary actor Dick Van Dyke, who is thankfully still going strong at the age of 97 years old and was recently unveiled as the gnome on The Masked Singer. From heartache to a suicidal battle with alcohol and a heartbreaking death, here's a look back at the tragedies that befell the Mary Poppins cast. He was depressed. Dick Van Dyke struggled with alcohol addiction for a long time, and in a 2013 interview with The Telegraph, via The Fix, he said that it took a toll on his mental health. He reportedly became very depressed and even considered self-harm. I was in deep trouble. You get suicidal and think you just can't go on, Van Dyke said. It was just terrible. As strange as it is to imagine Van Dyke like this, the National Institute of Mental Health reminds that depression is a common mental health issue that can affect all kinds of people. Van Dyke was ultimately able to resolve his alcohol-induced bad situation when he grew weary of alcohol itself. But then, suddenly, like a blessing, the drink started not to taste good, he described the change. I would feel a little dizzy and a little nauseous, and I wasn't getting the click. Today, I wouldn't want a drink for anything. However, he noted it wasn't a solo effort, and that at various points of his life he sought help from everywhere from rehab to Alcoholics Anonymous. He says he almost died in a strange surfboard accident. In a 2010 interview with Craig Ferguson, via The Guardian, Dick Van Dyke shared a story of a real-life close call that would seem too much to believe if it came from anyone else, that he was once stranded at sea and got saved by a group of porpoises. It all started, he said, when he fell asleep atop a surfboard and jolted awake to discover that he was in great peril after the tide had carried him out in the sea. I woke up out of sight of the land, the actor said. I started paddling with the swells and I started seeing fins swimming around me, and I thought, I'm dead. However, the visitors weren't sharks. They turned out to be porpoises, and they pushed me all the way to shore. To be fair, the primary source for the porpoise story appears to be Van Dyke's own account, so it would possibly be a good idea to enjoy it with a pinch of salt. Still, as Today notes, dolphins, at least, have been known to aid the occasional surfer in peril, so who knows? After all, if there's one guy who would avoid certain death thanks to a whimsical chance encounter with a pod of sea mammals, it would probably be Van Dyke. So viewers, please like this video and subscribe our channel. Thanks for watching.